Alright, in introduction, this piece is about, it's going to include, stories about the singer Becky Hill, also Katy Perry, Justin Bieber, and we'll be talking about the Royals and Kate Middleton, and we'll be talking about what gives us problems in this world and how we can resolve that, okay? And we'll be talking about Beyonce and also the Essex Boys and the story behind that. Okay, so this is what this article, and then we'll be talking about the Grenfel Tower attack and some more stuff there as well. Okay, so this is what this article is about. Okay, this story is going to lead to the Billie Jean story, but it's very complicated, so I have to start off quite somewhere else. Okay, alright, so I want us to look at the film Jewel by Steven Spielberg. Okay, this is a brilliant film. He did this film when he was still at university for studying film, and he did this in his final year film, and it's a very good film. It's actually a true story. Yes, it is. Okay, so what it is, it's a big truck, a big monstrous object machine, and it's attacking somebody else, and it's a duel. Right, so this somebody else is getting dueled by this huge monstrous beast. Right, and it's a true story. Now, the person is who's being dueled is actually a normal American guy. Now his pedigree, if you like, sorry, I don't mean to use that word, but his background rather is that he is American, and he is mothered by Marilyn Monroe and Elvis Presley. Right, now the duel, he's being now dueled by a big monstrous object, and that person is actually most of the gay community. Alright, and they are most of the rap world. They are mass immigration into America and Colombians and the cartels that are destroying America. Alright, they're destroying this guy who's the average American guy, but he's from a background that is Marilyn Monroe and Elvis Presley. And so the film Jewel is about a monstrous group attacking Marilyn Monroe. And that's a true story. And this is a true story, it's a brilliant film. Alright, so now in modern day we have Beyonce, the brilliant Beyonce. I've known Beyonce for a long time, and we've been through so much. I mean, we'll talk more about this later. Right, so one of her songs, brilliant song, is 1+1, right, is a brilliant song by Beyonce, and it's about this film Jewel, which is a true story. The monstrous object is attacking America and all the Americans. Right, so that monstrous object is non-American, and it's in America as well. Okay, it's not actually a trucking industry, no. Okay, it's actually McDonald's. They run in the schools. Let's look at Sandy Hook. Do you think the monstrous impression is correct in Spielberg's film? Yes, it is. It's totally correct. All right, so they're awful, appalling, right? Now, we'll go on and on and on about this, but I want to talk about Beyonce's her song 1+1 is actually about Jewel. Now, there's one person there who was adopted by Marilyn Monroe and Elvis Presley, and then he's been dueled by a monstrous object, which is so many things, as I'm explaining. Right, now, this is a true story, and in Beyonce's video you'll see that it's on the one side, is on Marilyn Monroe's side, is also the Jamaican people. Alright, so on the other side that's dueling them is the monstrous side, is most of the rap world and African immigration and homosexuals and the basketball world. all right, but and baseball as well, but basketball. Okay, they're very tall and asinine, and they've gone to war with Marilyn Monroe and Jamaicans, and this is what 1+1 is, all right, by Beyonce. Now, Marilyn Monroe was adopted a boy, and no one knows about this. The Essex boys know about this, and that boy was then sexually abused by the jeweller, the monstrous group, who are also the corner shops, and they raided our house and they sexually abused me violently. I mean, it was like Vietnam in my house. Every single day I was crying until I was about 14. It was terrorism in my house. They hated England, and they were attacking England when they were going for me, because I was living in London, and I'm the boy of the Essex boys. Right, they were begging me to. The enemy, the jeweller, were bending me over to try and anally rape me, and I was 7 years old. All right, I'm the boy of the Essex boys. All right, so Beyonce's song, who knows all about this? Beyonce's song, "If I Was a Boy," is about me and the Essex boys and our story. All right, and how we've been sexually abused by a jeweller who is a big homosexual paedophile with boys aged 5 years old, and they're drinking their cum, right? And they're poisonous too, right? They've got a pig farm. They're creating poisons that creates pigs, and they're making a lot of money like that. That's how they've stolen the banks. Okay, so we'll go into that in a minute. All right, so I'm the Essex boy. Right, so we're the streets. I was adopted by the mafia when I was very young, and Elvis Presley. When Elvis died, I was then looked after by the mafia that looked after Elvis. Right, that played in Elvis's band. My dad Tony, he took over from Elvis when he was killed, and Tony played in Elvis's band. He's a musician, Tony, and he looked after me very well ever since I was very young, and still does right now. All right, so, and he's the godfather, right? He's the godfather of the Italian mafia in America, in New York. Now, the Essex, we're the streets. I'm one of the head of the streets. Me, Tremaine Richardson, Dallas, and Keith. We're the streets. We became Oasis. Oasis is Dallas. Liam Gallagher is Dallas, and I'm Noel Gallagher, and their songs are all about our story, and it's an incredible story. We'll definitely go into this a little bit later. Right, so the Essex boy is about me as a 7-year-old being bent over by the jeweller, who is a great big monster. He runs McDonald's, the government, the banks. They've stolen everything. They're 6'2", 6'4", right, calling us too slim. Look at those chips in McDonald's. All right, now they're bending over the Essex boys and telling him he's too slim, and then they're trying to anally rape him even though he's 7 years old. All right, so now this is what Beyonce's song "If I Was a Boy" is all about. Okay, so as I'm growing older, I'm getting attacked still by the 6'4" group, who sexually abused me and filmed all of this. They are the head of psychiatry, a Colombian group. Right, they've got psychiatrists surrounding me right now, part of this homosexual group that made thousands of indecent images of underage homosexuality with little boy. That was me. I'm the Essex boy. Right, so now as I'm growing older, I met a beautiful woman called Becky. She's an Irish girl. And we fell in love. I was an artist. She was a writer. She was a very intelligent girl. She eventually went to Cambridge, and she come from a very humble background. And me and her, we knew each other since we were 7, and when we were about 11 or 12, we became lovers. And then we became a couple for many years. and when we were about 19, 20, she went off to university, and we had to split up. Now, we fell in love, we were very in love, right? She's called Becky Keane, and the band Keane is about Becky. Now, Becky is part of the Double G group. She's married, we got married. Me and Becky are very in love, married. We've known each other for a very long time. We've been through a lot together. We were spent a lot of time together when we were young, and we decided we were going to be together. Everyone else with us loved us both, loved Becky too. She's very popular. We'll talk about the other guys in a minute. So Becky is, she went to Cambridge, and the band Keane, the rock band Keane, is actually about Becky, because me and Becky, we're the Double G, and we've had the bank stolen off us by these Lyrian guys who are an incestuous gay group, 6'2", 6'4", calling us too short and then raxing our money off me and Becky. Like, we're very rich. Right, you'll see in the brilliant Liam Gallagher's song, Noel Gallagher's song, She's Electric, is about Becky. Right, so we own electronic companies because my dad is the head of Holland and Germany, and I've inherited the electronic company. Okay, so this is a different discussion, so I don't want to go too far, but so me and Becky, we fell in love. We own the banks, right? We also own the hotels. Double G owns the hotels, the car companies, and the banks, ATM machines. At Max is I'm Max, and Max and Becky. Right, Max and Becky. Becky is a beautiful redhead girl. Right, she went to Cambridge. We don't own any of our money. It was all raxed off us by the corner shops, pigeons, the gay communities. Some of the prison communities are involved in this theft, and psychiatry and crack addicts, they're involved in this theft. Yet they've got this pristine, clean bank that doesn't represent the crack university Britain that it really is. Okay, and stolen off the banks of me and Becky. Okay, so the artist and brilliant singer Becky Hill is playing my girlfriend Becky Keane. Right, they look very similar, and she sings songs that correlate to me and Becky's story. And Becky Hill, the brilliant singer in today's world, and her song with Chasing Status, Disconnect, right, is about how Becky is also a queen, because my dad is King John, who's also the King of France and England, and now Becky's a queen. Becky, Chasing Status is about us as well, me and Becky, Chasing Status. Right, now Disconnect by Becky Hill is actually Becky Hill's playing Becky, my wife and girlfriend, and she's telling the Queen's people, the Queen in England and America, to disconnect from the 6'2", 6'4", right, that are ruining everything, that are destroying you because we're too short. Becky Hill is not too short, okay? Whoever's saying that needs to be put in prison immediately. They're very ill, okay? They're very, they're also incapable, right? They're very reliant on people like Becky Hill. They need her for everything: electricity, benefits, a car, a language system, the music, society, morale. 6'2" is the prison community. Wow. You know, they're closing down universities. What? You know, they're a complete nightmare. We need to disconnect. Right, so they're in government, the 6'2". They're McDonald's, they're the schools. They're the current morale spread out by the rap world. And that is to kill the white people, and that they're in some way inferior when they're not. Right, the incapables are attacking the capables, right, which is Becky Keane, the normal sized people, right? The people who own the banks, but we've had it stolen off us by a very bad system from Colombia that do nothing but thieve. They're in the animal world. They belong in a zoo, right? How dare they attack me and Becky? Right? They've stolen a whole lot of money, and now they're constantly attacking us as well. And this is coming from your corner shops that also are involved in all of this. When I go to a corner shop, I've never been there, they're telling me to shut up. Shut up about what? I've never met you. Alright? Okay, so they're telling Beyonce to shut up. Right, these corner shops are the group, that are a monstrous group that are dueling America, Marilyn Monroe and the Jamaicans. Becky Hill is being duelled by a monster. She says disconnect because that monster is running England and has covered the whole of America with like insane amount of crime on so many angles and different ways, like 150,000 different ways of nastiness is coming from this monster that can only do nasty stuff. It never does anything nice. It's inhumane. It's not a human. It's an animal. We're being attacked by an animal. They've got no consciousness. If you look into a corner shop's eye, he has no depth. You look into his eye, it's about 3 millimeters, 2 millimeters deep. For fuck's sake, we're looking into his soul. Where is his soul? He doesn't have any. He's wooden. He's an animal. He's not a human. What they're doing is like just beyond what they should not be in the West at all. We need to remove them. Okay. Right, so now Judd is the jeweler. Okay, he's the one that's dueling Beyonce. Beyonce's dead scared of Judd. Right, so all the black music stars are scared of Judd. Right, but it's not Judd. Judd is the jeweler, but he's actually the icon of the gay community. Judd is the icon of the gay community. And guess what? Judd is Jack the Ripper. He's also the real Ian Huntley. He also killed Jamie Bulger. Alright, so now the film Jewel by Steven Spielberg was made because that monster is also the head of the Christian church, and he's the dad to all the women out there. See, the poor guy who's been duelled, that guy who's duelling him is his stepdad. Alright, so it's a very important subject, and well done, Steven Spielberg made a great film right there. He was very young and it was his first film. Right, now, so the jeweler is centred around a guy called Judd, who's the icon of the gay community. But he's not really the real dad, the real stepdad. He's not the real driver of that monstrous object that's dueling America and Britain and the world, and especially the fashion world. Right, so Judd is actually somebody else. Somebody called Jake, who's 6'4", and he's the real icon of the gay community. He's an incestuous gay guy, no girls allowed. The gays cannot get enough of this guy. He's absolutely huge. He's very tall and very wide. Alright, now he's the main jeweler. He's the main icon. He could have been the what do you call it? The second person involved in the Jack the Ripper murders is this guy called Jake, 6'4". Certainly he's South American Colombian, and those murders have a very South American fingerprint on them, the Jack the Ripper murders. So does Ian Huntley and Jamie Bulger. No British people would kill a kid like that. Right, no British people will go around killing prostitutes like that. It's not British. Okay, so 6'4" and the 6'4" and the jeweler, right? They are Jack the Ripper. Those girls were killed because they're too short, not because they're working girls. All right, let's ask Natasha Richardson if she was a working girl. What about Jo Cox? She was murdered by the Jack the Ripper group. The 6'4". Okay, all right. So they're Colombians, and they had the psychiatry department. They had the the British psychiatry. All right. Now they're using poisons, man-made poisons inside labs, secret labs inside these hospitals that are known about by, detectives would have read about these labs. It's quite well known. And they're making thousands of poisons that create different afflictions to innocent people. And then this is spiked in a drink. So they can create aggressive cancers by, they synthetically create compounds that are so aggressive they create cancer, or they can create thousands of different afflictions. Like one of the afflictions is it can flick your eye, and you don't know why. It can just totally fuck with the muscles in your eye, and it will just flip down. Right, so this is from one of these poisons, right? So, and it's coming from the psychiatry labs in the hospitals, all right? And that's the psychiatry with the 6'4" Colombian guy at the back of that, and the gay community and this monster that's dueling in America. So we see Katy Perry with this eye affliction. You know exactly where that's coming from. Your corner shops, your dark Indians, they're doing it. They're putting people, they're spiking it in her drink, and now she's got this eye problem. You better stop it right now, because they've got thousands of poisons, and one of those is cancer. Produces aggressive cancer. All right. Now, Justin Bieber has also been afflicted with this eye problem. He's also got an eye that flicks down. All right, and it's coming from your dark Indians in the hospitals that no one else can do this. Only a hospital can do this sort of stuff. All right. Okay. So now, right. So this jeweler is also the Christian church, but that doesn't mean they're all the Christians. The Christians don't know this about the Christian church. Certainly, there's a load of films that explain this dark secret behind the curtains that I'm explaining right now. It's explained in a number of films, like Dance with a Stranger is a great one. We'll talk about that later. And Jill, for instance, and a load of songs. 1+1 by Beyonce, Disconnect by Becky Hill. Okay, so Katy Perry and Justin Bieber. Right, now, the psychiatry department is the Colombian South American black whiting system that did the 7/7 bombings and blamed Pakistanis. Alright, so now these 7/7 bombers, the psychiatry department, the gay community, the monstrous jeweler, right, now they've got their psychiatrists around me. Right, so those psychiatrists have something to do with the 7/7 bombs, and they're targeting Pakistanis. I'm targeted because I look like a Pakistani. I'm from India. I'm adopted by a family where my granddad is named after an elephant, and I'm called the Stone. And Sharon Stone is playing my girlfriend's part. Right, so this psychiatry department, and this is your every psychiatrist in Britain, and also your GP doctors, okay? So psychiatry is a piss attack by the gay community, so are your GPs, GP. Alright, so they're attacking the Oscars, double G. The Oscars are getting attacked in a piss attack by the gay community and your doctors. Right, so they're also putting in you got 50, a double percentage in breast cancer coming from a piss attack in your gay community inside the hospitals that are attacking the nursing industry. So this psychiatry department is also your gang system outside. They're working outside with the Colombian, the crack industry in Britain. So all the crack in Manchester and Liverpool and Blackpool and London is all organised and sold and imported by the psychiatry department as a piss attack by the gay community. Alright, so and they're working with these blacks and gangs, and then they're doing murders anytime they feel like it. And they're doing murders just because this is their sexuality, gay sexuality. Right, now this psychiatry department is responsible for all the murders going on in every town. They're literally instigating it. The Southport murders, Charlene Downs, Jamie Bolger, Ian Huntley, Judd, the monster in The Jewel. He is the head of psychiatry. He is the real Jack the Ripper with 6'4", is the head of psychiatry. 6'4" is the head of psychiatry with Judd. Those two are companions. They've known each other since school days. So I know that Judd is the real Jack the Ripper. I'm wondering if Jake is his companion. Did Jack the Ripper have a companion? The answer is he most probably did. Who is that companion? It's going to have to be this guy Jake, a sort of Colombian guy that gave this Judd, a Northern Irish guy, a whole load of cultural South American kill women influences from an incestuous gay psychopathic group in Colombia that now becomes psychiatry. And then we've got psychopathic gays in the psychiatric department here that need to be arrested. Right, now this group of psychiatrists and Colombian psychopathy, they've told me that they've targeted, I know for a fact that they've been giving Kate Middleton death threats, violent death threats, telling her she's going to die in a car crash. They're giving her lots of death threats, folks. You don't know this, like. She's getting loads of death threats. And it's coming from 6'4", the Jack the Ripper group, Judd, psychiatry, all the psychiatrists in Britain are all involved, they're all an interconnected group. Also, all the corner shops, Spa, those guys, the Dark Indians in the hospitals and corner shops and everywhere. Those guys are giving Kate Middleton death threats, quite a lot. Right, they've also threatened her daughter, Princess Charlotte. They've threatened to kill her. Alright, they can do this using poisons in the hospitals, as I explained. They've got thousands of poisons they can spike. Okay, so these warrants, they all get kicked out. I mean, it's as simple as that. I mean, it's not difficult to understand. You do things like that, you're going to get thrown out, all of you, every last one of you. Out of America, out of England, out of Europe. And you're going to Africa, you're not going to India. We don't want you there either. You're not Indian. Right, so working with the South American group, 6'4" incestuous gays and the Dark Indians, and their bloodletting society, Aztec, right, which is needed to be homogenised and normalised, or their fate would never have lasted. So when the missionaries came in, they homogenised and what you call gave them longevity when they adapted. But when they don't, they die because they're a dying breed. Bloodletting people are suicidal. It's a suicide society. Psychiatry is suicide. Alright? Now, one of these guys who runs the psychiatry department with 6'4" is this guy called Ed Shaw. He's Colombian. and he lives in London, and all of them, 6'4", Judd is Jack the Ripper, his accomplice is this guy Ed, Colombian. And he lives at 111 Cholmondeley Gardens, Fortune Green Road, West Hampstead, London, NW6. Okay, so that's 111 Cholmondeley Gardens, West Hampstead, NW6. And he is Judd's accomplice with the 6'4". Okay, and Becky Hill says disconnect from them. Right, Beyonce says that they're the jeweler. They're jeweling the Jamaicans. So Pigeon Brain, 6'4", is jeweling the great artist of America. Beyonce's 1+1 is about this. And when Beyonce's in this video, she's been sprayed with water. This means it's a piss attack from your GPs, from your basketball world. And they're pissing on everyone else because you're not 6 foot. They're going for the fashion world. Beyonce represents the fashion world. She's speaking for them. They're all being pissed on by the dark Indian corner shops. Right, they're doing all these afflictions to people. They're giving Princess Charlotte death threats, these corner shops, through the jewelling machine. And the 6'4" in psychiatry. Psychiatry is all these dark Indians. That's where they're learning the no girls allowed and the homosexuality, incestuousness for them, but not for anyone else. The only person who would be doing that is a selfish monkey. And that's what they are. Do like a monkey, die like a monkey. Okay, so I was adopted by Marilyn Monroe and Elvis Presley. The Essex Boy is about me. Beyonce's song, If I Was a Boy, is about the Essex Boy. Alright, and when I was about 11, I met Pilgrim, who is Pilgrim Tucker. She is a beautiful woman from the head family of the Essex Boys. And the Tuckers, we got married when me and Pilgrim were about 15. We got married, and we lived together in Sylvia's house. And we're the double G that own the banks. Right, so If I Was a Boy is about the Essex Boys that owns the banks. Right, so you'll see Beyonce dressed as a policewoman in the video. That's because we're Beyonce fans and getting our banks back like we were cops. Because me and Pilgrim, we're the Essex Boys. Right, we're all the, and that's all the, right, so Pilgrim is also being played by Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift is Pilgrim, my beautiful and stunning wife that I met when we were 11 and we fell in love. She's just so beautiful and a great person. When we were older, we got married, and now she's got a PhD in government politics, council, and management, council management. So she's very intelligent. So is Becky as well. Becky, my girlfriend, went to Cambridge. Pilgrim is she's a wonderful girl and stunning Essex girl. Now, we've had the banks, me and Pilgrim were married. Right, so Taylor Swift's my wife. Right, and we've had the bank stolen of us. In Beyonce's video, she's dressed as a cop. So it's the same with the Taylor Swift fans. They're also cops. Why? Because we've had our bank stolen off us. You know how much money that is? Like hundreds of billions every year. Me and Pilgrim, we're poor. We've got a council flat. We can't live together because we're under attack as well. Taylor Swift fans are under attack by the people that have stolen the banks. Those corner shops are part of that monstrous machine that have stolen our banks. Right, so the people that have stolen the banks is a the jeweling group, and they're South American, they're Colombians, right now, and they're attacking Jamaicans. So Jamaicans are in the double G group. Now Sylvia gave me and Phil the banks. We are the banks. Phil is the son of Sylvia Lubinsky, owns the banks. So one of Sylvia's son is actually Warren Buffett, who is the richest man in the world. And Warren Buffett is actually modelled on me. And me and Phil, we're the double G. We own the banks and all corporation. But it all got stolen off us by a very cheap, minimal, incapable group. A bloodletting society that are suicidal. And then they're taking us down too. A very dark situation. Internationals are needed. All right, and we have internationals. And I've been around the world. I've travelled the 7 seas, people, right? And I've done this because we need help. And I've got help, and I've spoken to people. Right, so, okay, now, alright, so Taylor Swift and all her fans, and all of Beyonce's fans, we've had the bank stolen off us. We're all dressed as cops, because we're owed billions every year. Guess what the Colombians that have stolen those banks, high street banks, guess what they're doing now? They're making Taylor Swift and Beyonce fans homeless to contradict us like you've never seen, to the point of death. And if we're not careful, we have to act quickly and revive and recover in this Operation Recovery. Going out as the police officer when you're not a police officer because you love Beyonce, like me and everyone else, you're now a cop. You're going to get your money back. Alright, you know where they are, at the elements that belong to the Colombian cartel that's stolen it. The gay community, no girls allowed. No Beyonce, no Taylor Swift, they're taking the money to. And the car companies, and the hotels, and the schools, and all properties all stolen off Taylor Swift and Beyonce's fans, and them too. Stolen off me and Pilgrim. Me and Pilgrim own all the properties. We're double G. Sylvia knows Pilgrim and loves Pilgrim. She adores Pilgrim. Right now, we own all the hotels in England and America and Russia and the world. It got stolen off us by those corner shops. Nobody knows. It's behind the curtains. Me and Pilgrim, we live in a council flat. We should be living in a mansion wherever we want. We've got the Essex boys to get that for us. We've got Taylor Swift people, Beyonce's people, to go and get those properties that belongs to Beyonce and Taylor Swift. It's been stolen, and guess what? We're now homeless, so hurry up. We've got work to do. We're really actually behind. Our enemy are in advanced stages of their plans. We have to work. We have to ditch what we're doing. I did that. I worked in the film industry. I was on my way to being an art director, and I ditched the whole thing to help hospitals, help nurses. And now I live in the north. I'm still doing that. I want to write films. I want to do this. I can't do that. I've ditched it all. You've got to do the same. We're in an emergency. Nurses need our help. It's not just nurses. What about the population? Right. Okay, so the dueling group that are dueling Beyonce and Taylor Swift in a 1+1 attack to us by the dueling group, which is the monstrous object that is the government, councils, banks, and your corner shops and the psychiatry. Okay, so they're a South American group, Colombian. They're running our councils and banks and stolen everything. And then they did the Grenfel Tower attack. Okay, so they started off, they did the 7/7 bombings and then blamed Pakistanis. Alright, now then they did the Grenfell Tower attack. Right, so they pick the name out. They often always use names. So they look at the name, and it goes Grenfell is G-R-N Fell. Now Fell is one of the Colombian groups, the Fell family. They're a witches group. I'm not interested in how people look, but they're extremely unfortunate in the looks department. Right, and they're a witches group. They're very miserable. They seem to hate everyone. They've rejected life and become completely huge incapables. Right, so the Fells are working with the Colombian group that are stolen everything, all the banks, and they're kind of Northern Irish. Okay, so the Grenfell is telling you who's done that attack. Fell, and they're running the council. They're attacking Pakistanis because they're not Africans. The Fells are mass African immigration. The South Americans. Currently, the Fell is in Peru right now. He's living in Peru. He used to live in London, Kentish Town. Now he lives in Peru. And he's a threat because he is a biochemist and he's a poison threat. And he's placed himself in South America, where he wants to attack Catholics for the Africans that have already destroyed South America. How much more can you destroy South America than they already have? And they're planning to poison the Catholics there now. But then he's also a poison threat in England because he's the Fells. He works with Jake and Jack the Ripper. Jack the Ripper is a cousin of the Fell. Nolan Fell is called. Right, now they're working in the hospitals. They're head of psychiatry, and they've been attacking the Nolan sisters. And they've lost 2 of their members due to cancer. Now cancer can be spiked, and they've been spiked by the council people. The council workers in yellow, they're 6'2", 6'4", a witches group, and the Dark Indians, and the council workers in yellow. They have been targeting the Nolans. They gave them cancer. Okay, so the Grenfell Tower attack is the Fell group, Nolan Fell, attacking the Nolans. All of the music world, the gospels, country music, rock music. Now, my girlfriend, wife, Pilgrim, who playing Taylor Swift, is playing her part. Pilgrim knows the Nolan Fell, and we're under attack by this witches group, the Fells. Okay, the Fells that did the Grenfell Tower attack, they had the Christian church. They're the Law Society. They own the pubs. All the pub landlords, Weatherspoons for instance, had done the Grenfell Tower attack to attack Pakistanis. Again, after the 7/7 bombings. That was actually done by the pubs, the Fells, councils, Colombians and Africans. African men, that is. Okay, so the Fells and the African men, they plan to ship out all of the Queen's people, including the university class in England. Cambridge University and all the good universities, they're planning to ship us out, a witches group, and replace England with, desolation and dissolution. That's a bloodletting society, very suicidal and taking England down too. So they're absolutely crazy, all right? Now, Grenfell was done by the council themselves, and it was a piss attack. You'll notice the sprinklers were used. They're talking about wee-wee. Okay, they are a wee-wee attack to women by a gay community. The gay bars have done the Grenfell Tower attack to enforce black and whites to mix together and keep the Muslims and the Pakistanis out, because they don't like the white people. They want them to mix with Africans. The gay people want them to mix with Africans. So they've done the Grenfell Tower attack to attack Muslims inside that building. And it was done by the gay community, the Christian church that own all these corner shops. That's your main target, those corner shops. They've done the Grenfell Tower attack. Okay, Christian people don't really know about what's going on. I'm sure if they find out what's going on behind the curtains, that they'll be very shocked that they're incestuous gays. For a start, they won't like this. Right? Most Christians won't like this. All right. However, the Dark Indians do like this. There are no girls allowed and very incestuous. With 5-year-old boys, and they've done the Grenfell Tower attack. The Fells are led by your corner shops, a witches group. And this is your Grenfell Tower attack. Okay, so now they've actually stolen the banks, the Fells, and Jake and Jack the Ripper. Jack the Ripper is a cousin of the Nolan Fell, and they've killed 2 of the Nolan sisters. They're working in psychiatry. They're using poisons now. And people are getting cancers that don't know where they're coming from. All right, they're coming from these secret labs that they've got. They can create cancers, heart disease, liver disease, all types of diseases and afflictions. They've even created COVID. It's a fact. Right, this COVID was created by the group that have done the 7/7 bombings, then blamed Pakistanis. It was done by an African, the people that have done the Southport murders. They've created COVID. Now let's look at the murderer who's done the Southport murders and the Nottingham murders soon afterwards. All right, they've done the COVID incident. They've done the Grenfell Tower attack. They're working in those towers. They set it up, and they're also known as Pyro. Michael Jackson called them Pyro, right? Because they keep burning things down. Right, they're burning everything down. Right, even in America, you have I think it's Los Angeles. Oh, is it California fire? No, it's Los Angeles fires. Have been created, that has just happened in the last week. Those have been created by this group that are attacking Taylor Swift and America. Okay, it's the dueling group, the monstrous group, they're doing it. And they've also done the Southport murders and the Nottingham murders, and it was done by 2 different guys, both of them African immigrants. Right, and they've also done the fires in America, in Los Angeles. That's been done on purpose, done by someone called Pyro. Their whole group is called Pyro. Michael Jackson called them Pyro. The police and MI5 call them Pyro. They burnt down the Glasgow Art School. They burnt down the cathedral in Paris. They're burning down everything. They burnt down the Grenfell Tower. Right. So the Grenfell Tower was done by the council and the Fells, a witches group. All right, they're African men, a voodoo group. Okay, and a pygmy group even, descendants of pygmies, and they're cannibals. Even today, they're a cannibal group. All right, so now look at what they've done at the Grenfell Tower attack to attack basically Pakistanis. Right now, and Muslims. Now at the Fells and the council, they've stolen the banks of the Double G. So that includes Taylor Swift and Beyonce. all their fans are now cops because we've had the bank stolen off us, and now they've done the Grenfel Tower attack to attack our friends, the Pakistanis. Right, so now Pakistanis are under attack with the Grenfell Tower attack. That Fell family are desperately attacking me too, and they're attacking me because the Fells hate Pakistanis. Right, the Fells are all the dark Indian corner shops and the dark Indians in all the hospitals and the dark Indians everywhere. They're a witches group and they're desperately attacking Pakistanis. They've done the 7/7 bombings and then blame Pakistanis. So the 6'4" guy is leading Judd, who's Jack the Ripper. Right, so 6'4" Jake, he runs the councils. They're the Grenfell Tower attack, and the Fells, a witches group. They run all the pubs, Weatherspoons, Yates, Churchill's, all these pubs. All right, now Judd and 6'4", Judd is Northern Irish. Now I know them all my life, and Judd really hates the Southern Irish people. He hates them really, really badly. Now he's learnt this not from London or England. He's learnt this because he travelled back to Northern Ireland when he was young, and his granddad is a monster. Because when he came back, Judd was a different person, and he suddenly hated everyone. And he was biting them so hard that he was pulling flesh out of kids' arms. He was only 5 years old himself. You see, he was learning something from Northern Ireland that was telling them to kill Catholic, Irish, Southern Irish people in England. Okay, so then he's Jack the Ripper. He's Ian Huntley, Jamie Bulger's killer. Okay, so he's working with the South. He's got this from South Americans as well. It's not just Northern Irish; it's South American. Okay, and so Judd, Jack the Ripper, he's actually attacking Southern Irish women. That's his real. He can't stand Southern Irish women. He's a Northern Irish and he's the gay community. He's the icon of the gay community. He's put there by 6'4", Jake, according to Southern Irish people too short, but they're not. The 6'4" and Jack the Ripper is an incestuous gay group, and he hates the Southern Irish people because there's beautiful women and they're free. The Northern Irish and no girls allowed. Strict it is, strict. That means no Catholics, no Mary, no Southern Irish. And so Judd is the head of the councils and psychiatry. Head psychiatry is Judd, and he is attacking the Southern Irish people really badly. Right? This means all the nurses in the hospitals are under attack by psychiatry. All those psychiatry doctors are Northern Irish. And it's the kind of Northern Irish that Jack the Ripper, Ian Huntley. All right, so now, Jack the Ripper and Judd, the psychiatry department, is attacking my girlfriend, Becky, who's Southern Irish. She went to Cambridge, she works at the BBC now. Right, and she's been targeted, right, by psychiatry, all psychiatry throughout the country and America. And Becky Hill, the singer, is playing my girlfriend Becky's part. And she's also under attack, again, by psychiatry and these dark Indian, all the corner shops. They're doing that. They're attacking Becky, Southern Irish people. The corner shops are brought in by the Northern Irish gays because the corner shops are a witches group. So are the homosexuals in Northern Ireland. They're also witches. Okay, so these witches are so weird right? And they become so weird because they kill children. And they're suddenly this like zombie type of a person. And they can't be around others anymore. They're like, they died, if you know what I mean. And this is what the councils are, Northern Irish. All these council workers in yellow and the gyms, that's Northern Irish. And they're killing the Southern Irish people. That's why England is homeless right now, because the Northern Irish are making the Southern Irish homeless. And all of America, by the way. All right, so in Southern Ireland right now, Northern Ireland is stuffed it full of African immigrants. Millions of immigrants, like. So the Northern Irish have also stuffed France full of Africans. It's actually Northern Irish people doing that. A witches group. They're in Scotland as well, and in Wales, and in London, England. They're all over the place. All right, so they're your GPs. That's a witches group. Okay, they're the people who are attacking Southern Irish people, but also English people are under attack. Northern Irish are attacking the English. They're attacking the Scottish women, the Welsh women, all under attack by Northern Irish witches. Okay, so all your GPs and your banks have stolen the banks off the Southern Irish people. Me and Becky are married. She's Irish, right? And a musician's family. And now she works at the BBC. She's a Cambridge girl. She's extremely intelligent, right? She's creative director. Right now, we've had the bank stolen off us by the Northern Irish. Absolute loonies they are. They hate the English. They hate all the Thai people, all the Dutch people. They don't like Germany. They hate Sweden. They hate Sweden. What's Sweden done to Northern Ireland? Okay. So the corner shops that are the actual Northern Irish people and the kind of Northern Irish that are Jack the Ripper. Okay, so not all Northern Irish are Jack the Ripper, right? But we'll go into it more later. I have a big story about that, but I can't talk about it now because we have to close it up now because this article's too long, and we'll go into it in another discussion, definitely, about Northern Ireland. And the Northern Irish girls there, for instance, are all on my side, and we'll go into that in more detail. Okay, so now the councils and the corner shops are put here by the worst side of Northern Irish terrorism, and they're attacking England, British people, the Queen's people, right? That's the main target, is the Queen's people. Jack the Ripper is killing not Southern Irish women, but British girls. You see the Northern Irish people doing that. Right, so what did the British girls ever do to Northern Irish other than the British girls are funding Northern Ireland? Alright, so, okay, so now this Northern Irish group is targeting everyone I know, because the Northern Irish are attacking the whole music world. They're African immigration, and they're trying to kill the university world. And then so much more, including all the hospitals are going down too. Alright, so now they're targeting Becky Hill, the singer, and all the stars out there. And also my girlfriend Becky, right, who's an Irish girl. Now I need the Irish people to monitor and counter-attack those corner shops. That's Northern Ireland right there. They're attacking you really badly. They won't tell you this, but it's in the news, in the newspapers that they're selling. You'll see those attacks, and it's all to you, and it's all by them. It's a fact.